Namaskar and welcome to this exciting episode of Sattology Debunking Mythology. Sattology means science of truth or study of truth. Opposite of that is mythology, which means science or study of fate, lie, or imagination. So today I have a very special guest, and we will talk about the amazing temples of Tamil Nadu and Kerala. And we will also touch upon some other issues that we see all over the place. So let us welcome Srimati Lakshmi Bayi Nalapat.
Namaste, Aditya. Thank you for having me on your show.
Namaste and welcome again. Thank you for hosting, and it was such a wonderful visit I had of Kerala because of you. Uh,
You worked 25 hours per day. I am eyewitness to that. Okay, 25 hours in a 24-hour day. I mean, that was something else.
and one of the things really it struck me was, I had read a lot about Kerala, but I had not seen the on the ground, and I could walk a lot around your place and other places there. And one thing I could feel that there was certain level of peace in the entire state, like in the mental peace people get. And I saw a lot of foreigners in the Varkala also. But the amount of people having faith in their traditional Sanatana Dharma values was phenomenally higher than many other parts of India, where more people were going to temples. I could see that in terms of temples being crowded completely throughout the day, and then other parts. What do you think is the secret behind this? Like many people are going to temples more than any other parts. Like
Aditya, the ITM has that Kerala was underwater. Okay, and Parasurama, an incarnation of Vishnu, who came on earth to quote unquote handle politicians, if I may put it that way, because Kshatriyas were the kings. Kshatriya means he who Kshatate Trana iti Kshatriya, which means he who is able to overcome hurts. So a Kshatriya is somebody who protects. Unfortunately, what had happened is that the Kshatriyas who were ruling had become terrible. They had become very selfish. They were no longer protecting the society which they were supposed to be. Um, it was power without responsibility, to put it simply. And Sri Mahavishnu incarnated as Parashurama, and he had a um, he had an axe as his weapon, and it is said that for 22 times he killed all the Kshatriyas and finally reinstated those good Kshatriyas as rulers. Now, Parashurama is supposed to have come to Gokarna in present day Karnataka, and he threw his Maru is the axe, into the sea, and a landmass came up from the sea. That is Kerala. It is with the division of um states as per language that Gokarna went to Karnataka, just as Kanyakumari and Nagarkoil and also Adigeshava went into Tamil Nadu. These are the two neighboring states of Kerala. Now, in Kerala, Kerala is known as a Parashuramic land, if I can put it that way. And Parashurama is also the person who instituted a certain format of worship. He was a lawgiver. He ensured that people who were in power followed the laws which would give welfare to the people over whom they were ruling. So this tradition is there even in the Ulpati, that is in the formation of Kerala. And also, like if you've gone, I mean, I'm sure you've gone to Kashi Vishwanath temple, right? In Kashi Vishwanath temple, You can actually touch Vishwanatha. You can do Abhishekam for him. In the Garbhagriha, which is the Sanctum Sanctorum. Okay. But when you come to these temples in Varkala, in Attingal, in Sri Padmanabha, in Adikeshava, you could go only up to a point. You could not touch the deity. You could not enter the Garbhagriha. You could only stand there and watch while those designated people did their designated job. So when there was a sort of system, okay, there was a system of worship, and that system was followed by every homestead. Okay, that is what makes Kerala very special. In fact, the inhabitants of Kerala, the traditional inhabitants of Kerala, were supposed to be Nagas or serpents, the snakes. Actually, not snakes, serpents, Nagas or Sarpas rather. Once a Sarpa becomes a Naga, it cannot move. It is stationary. It has to be consecrated. It cannot be moved from one place to another. But a Sarpa can. And every traditional house in Kerala had something called a Sarpa Kavu, which means a snake shrine. You would not even take off one dead leaf from the floor of the Sarpakavu. So the Sarpakavu ensured that there was forestry. There were forests, small, mini forests. But these were very, very necessary for human dwellings. It is believed that there are 24 emanations from the sun. 18 of them are beneficial to human beings. The rest of them are not. 6, right? The 6 emanations are not good for human beings. It is believed that the serpents, the snakes, accept that radiation, and after a long period of time, that becomes calcified on the hood of the serpent, and it's called Nagamani. Nagamani is a wonderful, wonderful thing. I've been lucky enough to see one, that too very briefly. So you see, Kerala also follows the contract between the Sarpams and the Kerala people is that you've given us the land, we will continue your traditions. And it's more or less gone on like that, more or less, till now. Aditya.
Very good explanation. People do not know. So one thing also, when you say God's own country, which is the new marketing thing about Kerala, and it has a historical origin where Marthanda Varma gave the entire Kerala, undivided Kerala, which includes many parts of today's Tamil Nadu, to Padmanabha Swami. And then it became Padmanabha Swami's own land, so own country. So is that the origin of the word God's own country?
That I am not very sure, because God's own country started, I'm 60 years old, God's own country started when I was about 30. So that was too recent.
Too recent, yeah.
Because this will probably make Hindu fanatics mad. But I'm telling you one local thing. It is called Kerala, right? The name of this state is Kerala. It actually means Keram, the land of Keram. Keram is coconut. As you've seen, Aditya, coconut trees are like everywhere, right? Now, the Malabaris call it Kher Allah. You see? So they say that this is the land blessed by Allah. And if you go to the Middle East, they ask you it's not a very pointed question, but they ask you a very almost normal question. They ask you, are you from India or are you from Malabar? Malabar is Kerala. Kerala has had trading links with the Muslims for centuries. The golden age of Kerala was when the Hindus were ruling and the Muslims were trading. It's really the best time of the history of Kerala. Martanda Varma is the maker of modern Travancore, the kingdom of Travancore. And the kingdom of Travancore sort of existed in a U shape, okay, into Tamil Nadu, where we are now, Trivandrum, and up to Cochin. And after consolidating the geographical area, he gave the whole his kingdom, Travancore. It does not include Cochin, it does not include Malabar, just North Kerala, but it includes large parts of present day Tamil Nadu. So Adikeshava is in Tamil Nadu, Martandavarma's capital, which is Padmanabhapuram, is in Tamil Nadu. He shifted the capital to Trivandrum. This actually Trivandrum is Thiru Anantapuram, or the land. Thiru is honorific, thing. Just like saying Sri Aditya Satsangi. Okay. So Thiru Ananta. Ananta is the name of Sri Padmanabha's serpent, right? Anando, Vasuki, Taksha, Padmanabhas, Chakambala. You have all those, the names of all those sacred snakes. You have Vasuki, so many, Takshaga, etc. And Thiru Anantapuram is the place where Sri Padmanabha lies down on a snake, reclining on a snake. There is a Padma, lotus in his navi, Sri Padma, lotus, Nabha. Nabha means umbilicus. So there is a lotus coming out of his umbilicus. In the lotus, there is Brahma, who is the creator, who does Srishti. And if you look at Sri Padmanabha Swami Vigraham in Thiruvananthapuram, you will find that he's got his right hand is put over a shivling. So in the Sri Padmanabha Swami, in the main shrine, in the Garbha Griham of Sri Padmanabha Swami temple, there is Brahma. There is, of course, Vishnu as Sri Padmanabha Swami and Maheshwara. In fact, there is a slokam which, if I remember right, goes Onkara Rupa Kamaniya Padara Vinda. Your Onkara Rup, you're like shaped like the Onkar. Kamaniya Padara Vinda, your legs are beautiful like lotuses. Sri Vanchi Bhuba Kula Devata Vishwarupa. You are the Kula Devata of Vanchi Bhuba, the king of Vanchi. Vanchi is the old name of Travancore. Sheshe Shayana. You're reclining on a snake. Shiva Pujana Padmahasta. Your lotus hands are worshipping Shiva. Sri Padmanabha Mamadehi Karavalambam. And it's a long sloka. But this, because you've been to Ardhikeshava also, and you have been to Sri Padmanabha Swami temple also. Sri Padmanabha Swami temple is a Srishti Shaya, where there is creation, preservation as Sri Padmanabha, and destruction, because Shiva is the lord of, not destruction, of melting. In Adikeshava, if you have looked at the Vigraham, both these Vigrahams are made of Salagramams. Salagramam is that stone which you find in Nepal near the Gandaki Nadi. Salagramam, well, there was a lady called Vrinda who was a Pativrata, very chaste wife of a demon. And Mahavishnu could kill the demon only if Vrinda became unchaste. So much like Indra taking on the demeanor of or the shape of Ahalya's husband Gautam. sage Gautama, Mahavishnu took the shape of Vrinda's husband and he made love to her. And Vrinda became unchaste. But at that moment, for 1 second, Vrinda could see Mahavishnu in his form. Not, she could make out that she was not, that Mahavishnu was not her husband as she thought, but it was Mahavishnu. So Vrinda cursed Mahavishnu, saying, "You're so heartless, you know, be a stone." And that is how Salagramam was uh, was formed. And the counter story is that Mahavishnu somewhere loved Vrinda. So he cursed Vrinda, saying that may you become a plant. And that is how the Tulsi was born. And if you put 12 individual Salagramas together and you worship them the way they are supposed to be, give them the right upacharam, it becomes a strength of a Mahakshetra, one Mahakshetra. Sri Padmanabha Swami temple has 12,008 Salagramas covered by very complex material, very complex material called Kadisharkara, made out of 64 elements. So it is 12,008 Salagrama, covered with Kadisharkara. Sri Adikeshava is 16,008 Salagramas covered with the same Kadisharkara. Sri Padmanabha is 18 feet in length. Sri Adikeshava is 22. So, you see, you can see the similarities and differences between Sri Padmanabha Swami and Sri Adikeshava. And you've been to both, so you can also judge for yourself. The small, which is what Hinduism is all about, right? It's about nuances. You have one thing, you have, let's say, past, present, future. You have Sat, Rajo, Tamo. These are all big divisions. What makes it special? What makes it special? See, let's take Sri Mahavishnu, for example. He has taken Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, all those avatars, right? It's basically Mahavishnu taking those different incarnations. What is it which makes him different? What makes him different is the nuances. Ramo, Ramasya. That is, you have Balrama, you have Parasurama, and you have, of course, Sri Ram. Balrama is an agriculturist, if you can put it that way. The first settled agriculturist. And as you know, the whole of the Mahabharata, probably by heart, I don't know. You know that Balrama never took part in the Mahabharata war.
He visited Adikesha temple. Temple.
Yes. And he also came to Trivandrum. The old name of Trivandrum was Syanandura. Sa, which means with, Sa, Anand, it is Sa, Ananda, Syanandura. So it was, you see, it is with Anand. One of the names of Sri Padmanabha in Trivandrum Padmanabha Swami temple is Ananda. One of the names of Adikeshava is Adyananda. Adya, the first, Ananda. Even though both these temples are complete in themselves, okay, they're complete. They don't. It's not. If you go to Omkaram Amaleshwaram, if you go to the Jyotirlingas, you will find Omkaram, Temple Omkaram, and Temple Amaleshwaram with the Narmada in between. And your darshan is complete only if you go to both the temples. This is not like that. Padmanabha Swami is complete in himself. Sri Adikeshava is complete in himself. But still they have that link. So the local, the folklore, I love folklore. Okay, I love folklore. The folklore is that Sri Adikeshwara is Sri Padmanabha's Anna or elder brother. That is why Adya Ananda, not Ananda, Adya Ananda. Sri Padmanabha Swami is Ananda. And even till today, the muhurtam or the time for the Ulsavam. Ulsavam is it's a biannual festival in both the temples. There's a Veta. Veta is when they go for a ritual hunt, and this represents the killing of evil. They go for Veta. Then they have a ritual bath called Arat. Shivatnath Swami has his Arat in Shankumugam beach, and Sri Adikeshava has his Arat in one of the two rivers surrounding him. Tiruvattar actually means Tiru again like Tiruvananthapuram. Vattar means surrounded. Vattam means round. R means river. So Tiruvattar means that land which is surrounded by rivers. If you notice, when you go there, you have to cross. However you approach Tiruvattar, you have to cross one bridge or the other. And I see you filmed that bridge in your video, which I saw of Tiruvattar. Remember, you said this is the river.
Yes, I remember. I remember. Yes.
Ah,
See, one of the things which really struck me was the features of Adikeshav temple. Very sharp features of Adikeshav. The facial
hmm,
features are very sharp,
hmm.
and the eyes are just like Ranganath's eyes, big eyes,
Ah,
and you know,
I know what you mean.
and the directions are also very important because the directions are like here the directions were the head was facing towards the southwest and
Hmm,
and looking towards northeast, same directions like but the Ranganath is reverse. Ranganath is looking
hmm,
towards south exactly.
hmm,
Ranganath is
hmm,
lying down looking south. Amazing. I think if people who are watching this video would like to visit those temples and take those deities, darshan of those deities, it will be amazing experience actually to go and see. Another aspect was like when I'm studying the temples, I'm trying to see similarity because a lot of Western propaganda is about the pyramids.
hmm,
And I have been always saying these are not pyramids, these are temples. All are temples because they have
hmm,
eight directions are very important. And India is the home of that pyramid type of architecture
hmm,
because the most of the Vimana in the Vedic culture, all the temples are made like Vimana. They're
hmm,
approaching for the higher plane towards Devata. So all of them are eight directions, but in South India, that architecture is more pronounced. So most of the like if you look at the South American history, it is very clearly even Ravan used to control that area. Otherwise, Sugriv won't be searching in Peru and other places. So Ravan used to control. So the world architecture has actually come from Kerala and Tamil Nadu about pyramids and
Aditya, okay, go ahead, go ahead, go
so
ahead.
because it's an ancient temple construction science. It's a Vimana
Hmm,
type of construction. Like
hmm,
if you look at the even the Vimana of different Vimanas, we have done a show on this for viewers will see that actually
hmm,
that how the Vimanas were conical shaped and they were meant to approach the Devata, the higher lok, or Bhur Bhuva, and then go up the Maharlok, Tapalok, Janalok, all these different lokas there. So the similarity of Adi Keshav structure exactly matched what was constructed in South America, Mexico, even Egypt. Same
hmm,
directions. Like the
hmm,
Adi Keshav temple, the entrance is from the east, and you are actually climbing the Viman, the big walls, and there's a
hmm.
staircase goes up,
Sure.
and inside that there is a periphery where people are walking. Same
Hmm,
description about Utsav Pushpak Viman in the Ramayana that you have to climb.
correct.
It's very high. You have to climb up, and then you have to walk around.
Hmm,
So the whole. So I was observing that also from outside because inside we couldn't do much video shoot because it's not allowed. So I was just
hmm,
looking at outside. All structures are similar, directions are similar, and the whole temple is made. I'm sure it is filled up inside. Stones outside, inside will be soil, and then rocks inside. And the platform is made two-level platforms are there, not one. One you go there and then you climb up, and then that is where the
yeah.
Adikesh temple is there. So that's how you climb up three levels. So which is
Hmm,
Bhur Bhuva Swah.
correct.
So like that. So I was observing that, and that's how I was comparing the structures, and that's what I said in the report that that the whole structure of the South American temples or any type of pyramid has a deep connection to Vedic science. So you're saying something. Please go ahead.
Actually, if you look at Adikeshava and Sri Padmanabha, they are facing each other.
Yes.
Adikeshava is looking at Sri Padmanabha, and Sri Padmanabha is looking at Adikeshava. They're face to face, at a distance, but
Uh-huh.
he's looking at
Looking.
him and he's looking at him. Okay. And what you said about the pyramid, the pyramidical structure, so to speak, there is a belief that in the human body itself there is a Sri Chakram. Okay, and Sri Chakram, I'm obsessed about mother, right? I know, so it will naturally come to Sri Chakram. So there is a Bhu Prastaram which is flat. There's a Kurma Prastam which is slightly, and there is a Meru. It's called Meru, by the way. Meru Sri Chakram is exactly like you described, with the point at the top, and as it comes down, it widens. Okay, and if you forget about religion, not put religion aside for the time being. If you look at the shape of a lightning conductor, it will be taller than anything around. It will also be pointed so that it can receive the charge, and then it is earthed so that the lightning does not fall on the areas around. It falls, it is taken. Just like that, we, as you said, there are Atala, Vitala, Sutala, seven worlds below and seven worlds above. We are in Buloka, and we can only talk with some authority. I wouldn't say complete authority, some, let's say about 30-40% authority we can speak of about this world, because we are all here. We are seeing, we are inhabiting it, right? So, this construct, where this is conducive to let those energies flow. And you had mentioned a little earlier about Adikeshava's eyes, right? Um, there is a word in Sanskrit called Darshanam. Darshanam means to see. We go to the temple so that we can see the deity. It is one reverse process also, which is a must in a temple. The deity has to see us. It's not okay that I see Adikeshava. Adikeshava has to see me, because that glance is a protection. This glance is a supplication. When we look at them, it is a supplication. The reverse glance is a protection. And unfortunately, most people go nowadays, especially go to temples as a barter center. Okay, you go to the temple, you say, okay, fine, Padmanabha, I will give you 3 liters of palpayasam, that is milk, ka ghee, the milk dessert, the sweet. I will give you 3 liters of that, in exchange for which you please do me this, blah blah blah. So it's become very transactional. And this is one thing which I was observing with a lot of amusement at one level, and with a lot of sadness also one level. The greatest offering which you do to a temple nowadays is Shatru Samharam, which means the elimination of Shatrus. And Shatru Samharam is like, it's chock-a-block full. Okay, it's completely full. You go to any temple, if there is one person, let us say, doing just a chuma pushpanjali, means archana with flowers. I mean, worship with flowers. If there's one person doing one pushpanjali, you will find at least 25 people doing a Shatru Samhara Pushpanjali. So, what we do now is that we go to the temple, we tell the deity, look, I have this enemy, now handle it. And you come out. You do not, first of all, try to resolve the conflict either way. And there is no, the temple has come to be a place where you walk in and walk out. You're supposed to, when you do the pradakshinam or you circumambulate the temple, your right side is always on the side of the deity. That is for you to get good vibes. That is why it is so important, Aditya. You saw that big um, corridor around the temple, and that is where people. It is called Pradakshina Vidi, which is the path of circumambulation. You're supposed to go. The traditional way of going to a temple is you're supposed to go. Supposed to take darshan. You're supposed to have darshan. Then you come and sit in a place quietly. Then you just pray, even if it is for 2 minutes. You just pray because you are in the middle of a huge, very positive energy field. And the more you can absorb of that energy, the better it is for you. I've seen you get up at 4 o'clock after going to bed at 12 o'clock. I've seen you get up at 4 o'clock and go to Padmanabha Swami temple early in the morning so that you can catch a flight on time, right? Now that wish, you did not, yes, of course you appreciate. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm telling you from what I've observed of you, okay? You have, of course, looked at the architecture, you looked at all those points, you're not been blind to the aesthetics, so to speak, because I find the temples are very, very beautiful. And actually, Aditya, when you look, in Adikeshava temple, if you stand out, you cannot see the Vimanam. There is a Vimanam there. There is a 3-tiered Adikeshava here. There is a floor over him and there is a floor over that.
Correct.
But because of the positioning of the wall around him, you can't see the Vimana from anywhere outside. You have to go to the top level to see it.
That's right.
Okay. And this is ditto to Padmanabha Swami.
Mhm.
Padmanabha Swami also, you cannot see him in one go.
One go.
1, 2, 3.
Three.
Right? Vilvamangala Swami was supposed to be the one who was responsible for getting Padmanabha Swami here. I'm not boring you, no?
No.
I'm not boring you, right? Yeah. So
Bilvamangal,
Vilvamangala,
Bilvamangal Thakur's Govinda Bhashya is the main text of the Sri Sampradaya as well as Pushti Marg. So he has influence in Gujarat as well as in Sri Sampradaya.
Well, he came from there's a place called Kumbala in the north of Kerala. It's almost Kasargod. It's almost Karnataka. It's that close to the border. Now, Vilvamangala was a great saint. There was a 2-year-old kid who was running around his place, helping him, getting him flowers, etc., etc. One day, this child put the Salagrama which Vilvamangala was doing puja to in his mouth. And Vilvamangala Swami got naturally furious. And he said, "Go, I don't want you here. You're too naughty." And he pushed the child away with the backside of his left hand. And this child just looked at him and the child ran away. And the moment the child turned and ran, Vilvamangalam Swami realized that this child was nothing but Mahavishnu. So he ran behind him. Then this child said, "Now if you want to see me, you have to come to Anantan garden. Again, if you want to see me." Mahavishnu was with him, playing with him, like physically visible. Like I can see these books actually. So this child was actually physically with him. And the story goes, there is a temple in Kumbala. There is a tunnel which has now been locked up. It is called Vilvamangalam Guha. Guha means Gufa, which means cave. And they say that this tunnel runs from the north of Kerala to Thiruvananthapuram. So Vilvamangalam searched the whole of Kerala. I wandered and then finally came to Trivandrum, and then he found this lady. Her child was crying, and and this lady told this child, "Now if you don't stop crying, I'll throw you into Sanantan garden forest of Ananda. And that is when Vilvamangalam, please remember, everybody goes, yadda about the caste system in India, right? It is true that it is unfortunately there in a lot of places, but this lady with a child was an extremely considered to be an extremely allegedly low class. And Vilvamangalam, of course, was a great saint. So Vilvamangalam went and fell at her feet and said, "You are my guru. You showed me Anandan card." And Bilvamangalam went into the forest, and he heard this tree fall because he said, "Where are you now? I've come to Anandagad. You promised you will come. You'll be with me in Anandagad." And he heard a idupa tree fall, and there was a vigraha of Mahavishnu which was huge. The head in Tiruvattar, the torso in Trivandrum, and the feet in Tripapur, even though I have my doubts about Tripapur, that's of course another matter, completely another. Which is why then Vilvamangalam says, "Please shrink. I want to do Pradakshinam to you. I can't do Pradakshinam to you when you're so huge. So please shrink." And Mahavishnu shrank to 3 times the danda. For a sannyasi, the danda is very important. It's as important as the duni. Danda is a stick, and he shrunk to 3 times that of Vilvamangalam's danda, which is why you can see Sri Padmanabha and Adikeshava only through 1, 2, 3 entrances and not completely. Aditya.
You gave so many details in that answer, so many small details, and the viewers should note it down, that the position of the each of the deities and how they both are related to each other, both the temples. I mean, the temples are the real wealth of India, and which all the citizens of India must protect, because the kind of the culture which is brought in through these architectures. And you rightly said, I study like from a non person who is not from Sanatan Dharma background. Most of the Americans who are not part of the culture, for them just the sight of these temples will completely mesmerize them, because they are so beautiful from outside, and the way they are positioned, like the as per perfect vastukala, like they say, the perfect implementation of vastu in any place. You can see that the exactly square, exactly the entrances are exactly the right corners, and there are proper temples. Like when you enter the Adikesha temple, there is a Ganesh, and the tree over there in the corner, which is a southeast direction. And then you walk towards north, there is a temple on the northeast direction, there is another temple over in the corner. And so the architecture will really attract them from outside. They cannot go inside. And once they start seeing that the similar structures are all over the world, which they will come to know that who inspired the other places, because the oldest place usually inspires the newer place. Like if you have a skyscraper in New York, then the people are building skyscrapers in other places copying New York, but still the source is New York. So these temples are actually the source of pyramid types of temple structures, which are, like I said, made in the form of vimana. Now, one question comes into place is when we talk about the children, like because these temples have beautiful corridors inside, and I was thinking a lot of children are also coming. So, one of the suggestions I wanted to, actually suggestion is the wrong thing to say, but is that the walking paths are such beautiful corridors, and each pillar has a story.
Hmm.
They're not copycat of other pillar. Each pillar is different.
So,
And on the temple top sign, like I was asking you, there was a you explained already that there was a trishul on a Vishnu temple, so which is combining all three together, the deities, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh combined. Very few places you see that. Very few places in India you see that. That is
very few
only,
people notice that, by the way. Very few people notice that ritual in Padmanabha Swami temple. I mean, you've been there once, right? Or
yeah,
maybe twice.
once.
Once.
Yeah.
Ah. So it's
And
it's it's uh it's strange that you noticed it in just one visit. For that you need that kind of a kya bolte hai? You need that kind of a interest, and you know your eyes have to go to all the directions, everywhere, every corner. because this is not prominent, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was striking actually, but when I saw that, because normally in many temples I visited, you will not see a Trishul on a Vishnu temple. And you told the
Correct.
story correctly that it is all the three Guna Devtas are worshipped over there together in one
Yeah.
place. Uh, so one last question is, like, when people come there to engage them, like how to make these temples as a source of inspiration for kids and youth. Like one of the things which other places people use is they create Harinam walking path around the temple and give
Hmm.
prizes so that people chant, and then they
Okay.
may earn some give reward from the temple for doing that.
Huh.
The because so many local people are there, and
Huh.
obviously most of them are, and that time the Shabarimala thing is also going on right
Season,
now,
yeah.
and so it was wonderful to see all of them also being there and celebrating that. But the walking paths, can these walking paths become more engaged for the local people, more children who can come there and take advantage?
See, I'll tell you one thing, Aditya. Um, I was introduced, okay, to Godhead through Krishna, stories of Krishna, which you hear when you're a child. It is very, I mean, I'm talking about a 3 4 year old, 3 4 5 6 year old kids. It's very difficult to to make them understand that what Bhagavad Gita is, for example. But it is very easy for them to understand what dancing on Kaliyamardana, dancing on Kaliyan's head is, what it is to steal butter, what it is to sneak off into the forest. Now, this is everything which every child does, right? Kids, I remember you quoted a German friend of yours who said that the only God he found in India was Krishna, because Krishna was having fun all the time. And that statement has struck, it struck me so much, and it is still stuck with me, because there's an essence of uh, of philosophy, of religion in that. Now, uh, when we were children, we used to go to the temple, we used to play in the sand, first activity. Then we used to love looking at the elephant. We used to love looking at the bull, the horse. We used to love the nadaswaram, the music. We used to love the lights. Then the adults in my family said that is umboti. Umboti is a Kerala slang child's word for God. That is umboti. Umboti. You know what is umboti? Umboti does everything, all powerful. Okay, and he will take care of. And I also told you, Aditya, right? My first introduction to puja was Shiva Puja. When I lay down at the age 3 or 4 on my great grandmother's lap, and she used to make trimatur, which is banana, ghee, and sugar, consecrated food for Shiva. And I loved eating it. So that was the only reason when I started attending her Pradosh Puja. And even though other people were quite horrified, my great grandmother was wise enough to say, "No, let her be. Let her, come just for the bhog or the consecrated food." Then after that, it is true. First I started eating. Then she would say, "No, say Namah Shivaya." She was teaching me the Panchakshar. I never knew it was a Panchakshar. Okay, what is this Namah Shivaya? Is what I say to this person who's getting all the abhishek, who's getting this wonderful food. Okay, fine, Namah Shivaya. And she never said that this is God. You have to say this mantram. See, one area where I think Sanatana Dharma is failing, sorry to say this, is that we have a tendency now to make uh, religion very formal, very distant from us. I told you about that Shiva temple in Tamil Nadu, where uh, the priest had opened the shrine, and then this girl comes, 16-year-old girl comes with a bucket, and she sort of puts the bucket say and says, "Ayyare, appanikku paalu," which means, "Priest, this is milk for my father." So then she was turning to go. Then I said, I asked her, well, of course, I understood the words, but I said, "What is that?" She said, "Appanikku paalu, like it's milk for Shiva, my father." That immediacy, that connect between, whatever you call it, you can call it God, you can call it Shakti, you can call it whatever, that huge, all encompassing beauty. Because somehow, if any faith makes you ugly, please change your faith. That's all I can say. As a request, I'm not talking about any faith per se, just it's a gentle statement. If your faith is full of ugliness, it's full of strife, it's full of sorrow, please change your faith, because you are imbibing it, you believe in it, you will also exude it, you will surround your surroundings, if I may say so, with negativity. You see? So, children, yes, Namakaran, yes, but that I would say is only the second stage. Before that, you have to have plays, you have to have small kids singing, have singing competitions, bhajan competitions, drama competitions. I was lucky enough to see one of the Sanskrit plays of Bhasa. I mean, totally lucky. How many people have seen? How many people? Everybody has heard of Shakuntalam. How many people have read even a translation of Kalidasa? So you see, and art. That is why in India, every art was a temple art, dance, music, everything. You know, so we have to bring back. If you look at the simple social structure of ancient India, you had a temple in the middle, then you had the city or the town or whatever it is around it. This was the center. So unless you bring back those kind of things, unless you make it fun, unless see, God should never be a duty. God should always be a choice. The moment it becomes a duty, there is an efficiency about it, of course. When you do your duty well, there is an efficiency about it. But there is lack of intimacy. And when the Shakti outside, when that power outside and has a direct entry to your inner self, there has to be a balance. There has to be. It's like water. It cannot stagnate. There has to be circulation. You know, it's like Darshanam. That's one of the most beautiful things I've heard about Darshanam. You look at God in supplication. He looks at you with protection. Unless that two-way transfer of energy, for lack of better phrase, happens, um, religion is always going to be something. It's not going to be spirituality. It's going to be organized religion. And organized religion has some pitfalls. Every organized religion. What we need, we need joy. We need a happy God. We need a happy philosophy. Otherwise, it's going to be I am greater than you, you are greater than me. That's it. And that thing is going to go on and on.
The organized religions are almost like a political party, because
Exactly.
you have to
You got
change,
it.
almost like you have
Yeah.
to resign and then join another
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Yes. But you got it right in one sentence. It is a political party. Except that you don't say politics, you say religion.
Yeah, human freedom is not there. Freedom
Yeah.
to choose is not there. Freedom of pursuit of
Yeah.
happiness is not there. You have to follow within the thing, and people actually get so much frustrated they become agnostic. That's what we are seeing in the US. We are seeing in, so wherever there is a little bit protection of law is there, then these religions lose followers like crazy. Like every single person who is migrating from Middle East to USA becomes agnostic as soon as they land there. They don't want to follow any religion.
There is one more thing I must add, in connection to where God becomes happiness, okay? Because I've seen this in this trip of yours. When we went to Marich, is the place where Ravan tells Marich, you have to become the Swarna Mriga or the golden deer. You went there. You first of all you had studied about it. Okay, I am from Kerala. I am ashamed to say I didn't know this. I'm telling you openly, because why should I pretend to have something which I don't? So you told me about Marich coming to Varkala Janardana Swami. You told me about the territory, the shape, much before we went there. And when you went there, your mental picture and the actual geographical picture clicked perfectly, right? And you were on a high on the way back from that temple. You were almost dancing. You see, that has to be the effect of religion. Not okay, fine, oh, oh, Marich was here, Ravan was here, tick. Then it becomes studious. Then it becomes, then it becomes just a system. But when you see that your research has borne fruit correctly, it's not it's not hearsay, so to speak. You're seeing it, you're witnessing it, you've been to that place, and then you come back as a devotee of as a scholar of Ramayana and a devotee of Sri Ram. You are, like, you're so happy. I was enjoying your happiness, if I can put it that way. I didn't tell you that then because you were in your own world. I didn't want to disturb that bubble. You know what I mean? That has to be, if that is not there in any um, philosophy, forget religion. mm, that's not religion for me. That is a gun against my head.
Yeah, I
And
also,
look,
uh, yes, go ahead. You're
please.
saying something, please complete. So I was also proving another point that the
Hmm,
Shastra Chakshu, like the vision from the
hmm,
Shastra,
hmm.
when he meets the Netra Chakshu, it's a different experience.
Nah, correct. I know. I know. I know. See, because that is the intersection of two worlds, right?
Yeah. And that also proves that Valmiki Ramayana is geographically so accurate. It's so accurate.
Hmm,
It's like
hmm,
uh, coastline is mentioned. Immediately after the coastline, there is a tree where Garuda sat. And I met so many people there, old priests. And you'll be shocked to know I met one old person over there who has been staying there for many years. I think 90 years. He was 90 years old. And he said in Malayalam, and which Suresh, they
Suresh
translated
was
for me.
translating.
And he said, this is the same tree where Garuda sat. He said it. And the tree is so huge. People, I mean, what they have done is they've restricted it with a
Hmm,
boundary wall. Ideally, they should
hmm,
remove the boundary wall, let it expand,
hmm,
because that tree goes right till the ocean.
hmm,
If they leave the boundary walls away, that tree will gradually go back to the ocean,
hmm.
and his branches will go. And that is the exact description in Valmiki Ramayana. It was from ocean to the land. So
Ah,
it will grow back because that's the feature of Bargat tree. But that is a Bargat tree, uh,
correct.
and so beautiful. In English, we call it banyan tree. Banyan tree. Banyan trees are very common to only India and Malaya countries. And another thing important was that there were no sandalwood forests in the way. That was another.
Okay.
Sandalwood forests have to be on the east of that tree. So if you go east in that
Ah,
from the direction,
okay.
then you'll see sandalwood trees and other things. So I had already checked all those things on the net, and I had verified that this is the 90, 90, 90, 90, like all the logic I use. Remove all the areas which are not possible. And so this is the only place which is left then in the entire South Indian peninsula, that this where the Garuda might have sat. And they made a temple also. And inside the temple, the main deity is Vishnu, because wherever Garuda is, Vishnu will be there.
Of course.
And Janardhan Swami is sitting there, and Garuda Murti is put at the base of the temple along with Vasuki.
Hmm.
That again shows. So anyone who set up that temple in the recent times must have studied the Shastra properly before they set it up. Because the directions are also set up after the temple. They could have made an entrance before the tree also, but they set it up outside the tree. So
Ah.
that also shows that it was an important place. So you want to add anything if I missed out on anything today's topic?
No, because see, I'll tell you one thing. Instead of saying that, oh, Ramayana is great, Rama is great, and just saying that is basically like tu tu meme. If I can use a cliche, it is like I am right, you are right. Okay, but when you prove it with actual, when you take the text, hold the text on one side, you take the geographical evidences on the other, then it becomes more, like if you're trying to prove your point. I'm not, see, because you don't have to prove a point in regarding faith, because faith, either you have it or you don't. And even, in the case of faith, even if these markers are there or not, it doesn't matter, because it's something else, right? But this is very important, and it is very important. See, you had asked what to do about kids. Kids have to be, uh, you know, kids have to be told the Ramayana. Why don't we have a Why don't we have a tour? Actually, if you go to Sri Lanka, I know you have a difference of opinion about Sri Lanka being Ravana's kingdom. But if you look at Sri Lanka, present day Sri Lanka, they have done more with Ramayana tourism, quote unquote, than we have. How many people? Yeah, how many people in Kerala? Okay, the 90-year-old gentleman knew about Garuda sitting there, but he did not know about, or at least he did not tell you about, um, uh, you know, about Ravana going to Maricha. No, that's there, right there. It's about what? It's about 45 kilometers from my house. Varkala Janardhana Swami temple. So you see, you so how many people locally? There are no guides. There's no learned person. Forget about guides. Guides is the wrong word. There's no learned person to tell you to connect all this. So unless we learn, we're not going to teach. We're not going to reach anywhere. It's just going to be strident. So it is, and see, the more you learn, every true scholar knows that the more you learn, the less you know.
Exactly. It's a learning. This is my video in that other video also. The more you know, the less you know.
Yes.
So in the today's Sri Lanka, which is a 1972 name, it's
Uh,
in the Shastra is called Simhaladweep. In
uh,
Ramayana, it's called Simhaladweep. So
uh,
that is also Pratibhu Lanka. Pratibhu means that when the original Lanka went down the ocean, then
mm,
the Rakshasa shifted to this place and made it like Sri Ram's land, because Lanka also became Ram's territory because he
yeah,
won it. He defeated
yeah,
Ravana, so it became so. The Pratibhu means like an original, but not original. But in the memory of Sri Ram, it was set up. The whole thing was set up again. But nonetheless, it is also important, because I don't say it is not important. It is important, but the original Lanka, which is under the ocean, which is as per the Surya Siddhanta, as per Bhagavad Puran, as per Ramayana, as per Mahabharata, and otherwise, why will Ravan take a plane to come there? He had to use a
correct,
plane. So
correct.
and he knew exactly where Marich is hiding. So he came
Uh,
straight from the plane, landed on the coast, and walked straight inside. So the platform which we see, uh, and anyway, we'll cover that in much detail. There's another video of mine which in that I have covered that in detail, and you can viewers can get those books which on which the basis I did it is Global Footprint of Ramayana in India and One Arrow One Kill in the US. You can get those two books there. But thank you so much, Mata, for coming on the show today and enlightening us with your wisdom. And I know you have a lot of
Aditya, 10 times, 10,000 times more than I do. You're just being nice, okay?
no.
I have I have crumbs from Saraswati's table. That is all. What she, or Kali's, what she deigns to give, acha, take this little piece. That's it.
No, actually, what you know, I don't know. So it's a
No,
learning.
but then that is good. No, that is how that will reinforce things, right?
Yeah.
It's not competition. See,
No,
that is the essence of Sanatana Dharma.
that's right.
You bring this to the table. I will bring this to the table. Somebody else will bring something else, and that, you everybody benefits.
I have theoretical knowledge, but you know exactly what is on the ground. Like you said, folklores are important. It is important because sometimes they help you point in the right direction and give credence to
Hmm.
your thought. Like the
Do you
19.
know how many people have said? I've told so many people about Varkala. They are like, "What?" I said, "Yes." I also said, "Please read his book." Please read his book and correlate. Don't believe me. Buy his book and you look at it, and then you. A friend of mine recently told me that Ramayana is one of the greatest. It's true. She's a Hindu, but she's a non-believer. So she told me that Ramayana is the greatest travelogue.
Absolutely.
It is true. It is true.
It is true.
She's a great artist. Okay, she's a great artist. Sometimes I think that she doesn't have to believe in God. In that thing, God believes in her.
So thank you so much for coming on the show today, and thank you for all the viewers for watching. And I like the attention that you're giving to this show right now. And do share, like, and subscribe the video. Send it out on YouTube, and let us know your feedback in comments. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Thank you, Aditya. Namaste.